Imagine you're in a conversation and someone tries to put you down, showing that arrogance that cuts through the room like a blade. Normally, you'd just stay silent, biting your tongue. But what if, instead, you had phrases so powerful they would completely knock them off balance? Today, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful phrases that not only disarm the arrogant, but also show everyone around you the strength of your character. The last phrase is so impactful that many people are left completely speechless, and that's why you need to watch until the end. The Stoic philosophers always saw arrogance as a fragile mask, worn by those who have not yet learned to master themselves. For them, true greatness isn't proven by the tone of your voice or the size of your pride, but by your calm and firmness in the face of provocation. Seneca, in one of his letters, stated, "Arrogance is the desire to seem bigger, when in fact you are smaller." This phrase reveals something powerful. Whoever needs to show off their superiority is already admitting their own insecurity. Epictetus, in turn, advised that we shouldn't be bothered by insults because an insult only has power if we accept it and carry it within us. In other words, the Stoic knew that someone else's arrogance only hurts when we allow it into our own minds. Marcus Aurelius also reinforced this stance, reminding us that we cannot control the tongues of others, but we can always control our reactions. This lesson is crucial. When we respond with wisdom, we dismantle the arrogant person's game without needing to shout or lose our composure. And that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. 5 powerful phrases inspired by this Stoic spirit, capable of disarming any arrogant person, not with aggression, but with intelligence and grace. Phrase 1. You have a right to think that way. This simple phrase has immense power against someone who is arrogant. Arrogance thrives on resistance. The arrogant person expects confrontation. They want to prove their superiority and feed on verbal conflict. When you respond calmly and say, "You have a right to think that way," you break the logic of the conflict. It's like letting the air out of an overinflated balloon. All the tension dissolves. But be careful. This isn't about admitting the arrogant person is right. The secret is in the subtlety. You aren't agreeing with their point, but merely acknowledging their right to have that perspective. It's an elegant way to end the cycle of provocation without playing the game they desperately want you to play. The Stoics would call this removing the fuel from the fire. Epictetus said that no one can harm your mind without your permission. By using this phrase, you keep your mind free, refusing to get caught in the web of someone else's pride. The arrogant person, used to arguing to win, suddenly finds themselves facing someone who isn't playing the same game. Imagine a work meeting where someone tries to impose their ideas with contempt. Everyone expects you to fire back harshly, but instead you smile slightly and say, "You have a right to think that way." The silence that follows is telling. The person loses their stage, and everyone else realizes that you remained in control. This kind of posture is stronger than any attack, because the arrogant don't expect to be disarmed with serenity. It's in this moment that Stoicism proves its modern relevance, when inner peace defeats the need to prove who has the loudest voice. Phrase 2. That's an interesting point. You've given me something to think about. This phrase seems innocent, but it carries strategic force. The arrogant person expects to be rejected or criticized, but when you show interest, they lose their armor. It's like pulling the rug out from under their feet without raising your voice. You transform the attack into a moment of reflection, shifting the energy of the conversation. The secret is in the tone. It's not irony, it's not sarcasm, it's genuine calm. When you respond with, "You've given me something to think about," you place the other person in the role of a teacher, but without giving them the victory of a confrontation. Instead of fueling the battle, you show maturity and silently take control of the dialogue. Seneca said that there is nothing so arrogant that it cannot be softened by reason. This phrase is the embodiment of that. You don't have to win, you just have to lead. The arrogant person, accustomed to imposing their ideas like a hammer, finds themselves facing someone who doesn't fight back, but also doesn't submit. Imagine someone trying to belittle you in public, showing off their supposed intellectual superiority. Everyone expects an aggressive response. Instead, you look at them calmly and say, "That's an interesting point. You've given me something to think about." The atmosphere changes instantly. The audience realizes that the one in control isn't the one who speaks the loudest, but the one who can maintain their calm. That is the beauty of applying Stoic wisdom to daily life, transforming provocations into opportunities for growth. When you respond this way, you not only disarm the arrogant person, but also inspire respect from everyone around you. Phrase 3. I'd prefer to hear more before I respond. This phrase is like an invisible shield. The arrogant person expects an immediate reply, a quick dispute, because that's the field where they feel comfortable. But when you choose to delay your response and value listening, their arrogance dissolves into thin air. Suddenly, the person who wanted to be the center of attention realizes they've lost the urgency of the show. In Stoic philosophy, the ability to pause before reacting is a sign of strength, not weakness. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the power to live well lies in choosing how we react. By saying you'd prefer to hear more, you show that you are not trapped by their provocations and that control of the situation remains in your hands. This tactic is even more effective because it's surprising. In a heated argument, everyone expects you to fight fire with fire. When you calmly state that you'd prefer to hear more, you reveal two things: self-confidence and wisdom. And both are weapons that arrogance cannot fight. Imagine a debate where someone tries to impose their opinion by raising their voice and gesturing to prove their superiority. You could retaliate in the same tone, but you choose a different stance. I'd prefer to hear more before I respond. This response is like a silent blow, as it shows everyone you aren't in the arena to fight, but to govern. The psychological effect is devastating. The arrogant person loses their rhythm because they can't compete with someone who isn't playing. While they drown in their own eagerness to win, you rise in everyone's perception as someone who masters not only the conversation, but themselves. Phrase 4. It's interesting how everyone sees the world differently. This phrase has a power that is both subtle and devastating. It doesn't confront, it doesn't accuse, it doesn't disrespect. It simply states that the arrogant view is just one among many. It's like holding up a mirror to the person without having to attack them. The arrogant person lives under the illusion that their opinion is the only one that's valid. When you respond by saying, "It's interesting how everyone sees the world differently," you shatter that illusion and show that their perspective isn't an absolute truth, but just a limited view. This realization disarms without offending. Epictetus taught that it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of things. This phrase is exactly that, a reminder that every opinion is just a reflection of the mind that holds it. By bringing this awareness into the dialogue, you place the arrogant person in front of a philosophical mirror, forcing them to see themselves. Picture a family conversation where someone tries to impose their point of view, as if it were law. You, with serenity, say, "It's interesting how everyone sees the world differently." The impact is immediate. The aggressive tone loses its power because there's no way to argue back without looking intolerant in front of everyone. This phrase not only disarms but also elevates your image. While the arrogant person remains trapped in their own vanity, you demonstrate maturity, empathy, and a broader worldview. And that is something that cannot be challenged. Phrase 5. If that makes you happy, then that's fine. This is the final phrase, the one that completely dismantles arrogance. The arrogant person wants to prove something. They want to win. They want to feel they have dominated. When you calmly respond, "If that makes you happy, then that's fine," you nullify any attempt at confrontation. There is no more fight because you refuse to participate in it. This response elegantly exposes the true fragility of the arrogant person, their need for external validation. By implying that the other person only speaks or acts that way to feel happy, you pull back the curtain on their supposed superiority. It's like revealing that behind the loud voice, there is just a desperate plea for validation. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that nothing has as much power over us as the things we give importance to. If you show that you give no importance to their arrogance, it simply loses its value. This phrase is the living application of that principle. You don't step into the ring, and that is precisely why you win. Imagine a co-worker trying to show they are better than you at a task. Instead of competing, you calmly say, "If that makes you happy, then that's fine." The room freezes for a moment because everyone realizes you weren't defeated. You simply rose above the dispute. This phrase is definitive because it closes the loop. While the previous phrases dismantle the arrogant posture bit by bit, this one ends the game. There is no possible response without exposing even more of the other person's insecurity. The silence that the arrogant person is left with shows the true power of this attitude. These 5 phrases have something in common. None of them seek confrontation. All of them seek control. That is what Stoicism teaches us. We don't need to defeat the arrogant with shouts, but with serenity and clarity. Whoever controls themselves has already won before the discussion even begins. By saying, "You have a right to think that way," you show maturity. When you state, "That's interesting, you've given me something to think about," you surprise them with your calm. By declaring, "I prefer to hear more before I respond," you command the scene with patience. When you say, "It's interesting how everyone sees the world differently," you dismantle the myth of absolute truth. And finally with, "If that makes you happy, then that's fine," you end the game, revealing that their arrogance never had any power over you. These phrases are not just words, they are the attitudes of someone who has learned not to be a slave to the pride of others. Imagine the impact of applying them in your life. More respect, more tranquility, more command over situations. That is the true strength of someone who lives in peace with themselves. And if you want to continue cultivating this mindset of calm and strength, subscribe now to the Stoic Spring channel. Here you will find daily reflections that will strengthen your maturity and help you build the habit of protecting your inner peace. Because when you take care of your mind, no external arrogance can shake you. Now tell me in the comments, which of these phrases are you going to use first?